Penguins have knees. Technically, yes, they do have knees. While they look a little bit strange when they walk around like their legs are these straight little poles, they actually do have knees that are inside of the body. The joint is much higher on the leg, so it kind of appears that they don't have knees, but in fact, they do have knees. Can we train penguins to take over the world? They're quite smart, and we do a lot of training with them here at the zoo. Some of the things that we're able to do are train them to stand on a little station, or we can also train them to come over to us. These are all things that are pretty simple. However, taking over the world is a pretty big ask, and I don't know that these guys really have it in them to be that crafty. We had a question about a GIF where a penguin is pushing another penguin into the water to test if it's safe to go in. No, it's not a real thing. Generally, it can be an accident. Really, these guys, especially the Australian little penguin that we have here, when they come in or out of the ocean, they like to work in groups because it's safety in numbers. And it's not about pushing someone first, it's about looking after each other and staying together in numbers and going in together. Do penguins swim like a fish? No, not really. They actually almost fly underwater. Penguins are able to actually breathe air like us, but they hold their breath when they go underwater. And when they swim, they use their wings to actually propel themselves. They fly underwater, and it's a pretty special adaptation that they have. Who is this? And this, my friends, is Ed or Edward. Ed is a fjord penguin, and he came to us at the zoo a little while ago through our AGL Marine Response Unit. Part of what we do is rescue marine animals in the wild. Ed here washed up on a beach. His top and his bottom beak actually cross over. We actually call that a scissor beak, and that's actually when Ed's name came from. We called him Ed after Edward Scissorhands because he has a scissor beak. Do penguins like belly rubs? No. Most penguins aren't particularly fond of being touched. They don't like to be touched, they don't like to be picked up, they tolerate really us coming into the exhibit. Can we domesticate them? No, these guys are amazing to see out in the wild, but we don't particularly want to keep them as pets. They're really quite difficult to look after. Could we possibly teach a penguin to fly?
A penguin is a bird that cannot fly.
Penguins are built to be able to swim and walk on land. They're not built to fly. Their bones are very dense and heavy, and they don't have the type of feathers that allow for lift and to be able to propel themselves up into the air. Can a penguin recognize you as like a friend or building a relationship or a friendship? It's a tricky one to say yes or no to, I would say at this point. A few years ago, we had to hand raise one of our chicks. She did form a very strong bond with the keepers here at the zoo, and she did recognise a few people, probably more so than others. We certainly can see through our fjord penguin Ed. He's a wild bird that's come in, and he does like to come and interact with people. It's probably more based off of curiosity than anything else, so maybe we need to do a little bit more searching on the full answer for that. Are there any penguins that like to dance? They do have courting behaviours. When it's breeding season and you have a male and a female and they are trying to get together, they will do certain behavioural moves. I wouldn't really describe it as dancing. So it's more like head bobbing, vocalising, talking to each other, and building their nest really is the biggest part of that. How many vocalizations do penguins make? These guys are talking all the time, so they're very vocal. Our little penguins are certainly one of the most vocal of penguins. They constantly talk. I couldn't give you a number on exactly how many vocalizations they have because there's a whole range of vocals that they do actually make. We have a sleepover here at the zoo that people can come and pay and do, and we often get told the next day that the penguins have kept our visitors up all night because the penguins are so vocal and loud. I think that's a kind of cool experience, getting to sleep with the sound of penguins around you. If you like your sleep, maybe there's some people that aren't so keen on that. So one question that no one really seemed to ask that I really personally want to be able to talk to you guys about is what can we do to help penguins in the wild? We have a few campaigns here at the zoo that really connect with our penguins. Basically, use bubbles, not balloons. Penguins in the wild, unfortunately, are finding a lot of rubbish in our oceans. And one thing in particular that we've been able to find and really identify is balloons. So when you're releasing balloons, a lot of people don't think about where they go after that. And unfortunately, what actually happens is they end up in our oceans, and a lot of our marine life are consuming them. So what I'm asking you guys is, if you can, switch over, use bubbles instead of balloons at your next outdoor event. It's a really simple switch. It's going to help out the penguins, and we'd love for you guys to get on board. Okay, so that about wraps up all of the questions that we have time for today. I want to say a massive thank you for tuning in and listening, and all the amazing questions that you had. Again, my name's Beth. I'm here at Melbourne Zoo. Come visit us sometime. It's been awesome, and happy World Penguin Day.
Penguin.